Hey guys, what's going on? In this episode, we're going to be talking about the pickups that I got for the Black Friday season. Basically, everything that I purchased that I'm happy about, that I regret during this Black Friday deals. And I'll compare that to what I got last year. Definitely talk about some regrets there. A couple things on my notes that I want to mention. This show is going to be a little bit shorter than normal because afterwards we're doing a members-only fireside chat with Michael B. Don't worry, you don't have to become a member to see that. That will be live tomorrow or airing tomorrow. It's just early access tonight. Afterwards, we got 19K Fox. He's got his show, his Home Arcade podcast. But after that, I'm joining 19K Fox on his channel, and we're doing the Andor Episode 12 breakdown. We're going to talk about the entire Season 1 of Andor. So a lot of content. I told my wife, go ahead, tuck the kids in bed. I'll be up streaming basically all night. She's like, that's cool, no big deal. Tonight we're drinking some Maker's Mark, just some cheap Maker's Mark. I got to run through this before I get a better bottle. Thanks, guys, for hanging out in the chat. That's right, it's a marathon tonight. What's going on, JJ? Biggie D, it's good to see you guys. Music Mike, Bill's Retro Show is in the house. Stupid Fat Hobbit, what is going on, guys? Quentin, good to see you. Good to see you. Corner Cades, good to see you. Okay, so let's jump right into it, guys. We're going to take a look at some of the purchases that I picked up. Is that where we're on to next? Yeah. I don't even know what I'm sharing the screen right now. Hold on a second. All right, okay. Some of the deals that we're going to be talking about tonight, of course, we'll get right to it. Those are the new to the chat. Those that are new to my channel, I always want to talk about this, so I offer this free service. It's called Home Arcade Deals. It's my website, consulkits.com. Every day I run a script that gives an analysis. It goes and grabs all the prices. We're going to talk about if you want to get into home arcade, you want to get some deals. This is a great website for resources. There are definitely some other resources out there. You can go to Facebook groups. Lewis Chambers puts together a really good group called Arcade1UP Deals on Facebook. You can follow content creators. I know 19K Fox, my buddy, he's constantly posting new deals, and he's faster than even my site can pick it up. In the last year or so, there hasn't been a ton of lightning deals, so it's not like you have to rush out to get these deals. And any of the really big deals, and we'll talk about them tonight, are regional. As an example, Simpsons for $1.99 was regional. So that's only in certain areas. Some people went to their Walmart, they don't even have it in stock, and then it was priced at full price if they did have it in stock. I'll give you an example here of the Simpsons for $2.99. What's interesting about this one is this particular model that they have marked down to $2.99 actually comes with additional accessories. The one that I got for $1.99 did not come with a stool, did not come with a sign, so you could maybe justify that as a deal. So I did pick this up. This is a cabinet that's been out for over a year, I want to say, but I just received it during this, let's see, I got it September 30th, and I assembled it recently, did my first online stream, been playing with it a little bit. And here's my initial thoughts on The Simpsons. I think I actually have a video on The Simpsons. Yeah, we'll talk over this little video that I filmed right before the stream. So this is basically me just playing the first level of The Simpsons. And I think even in this video, I was playing around with it. I was kind of just doing some poor man's lag testing. So if you don't know, poor man's lag testing is just basically tapping a joystick or a button and see how fast the character reacts. And you're just kind of getting your own feel of, is there some obvious delay? So I will say that I played this online. That was the first time I played it, was online with Michael B. I set it up and turned it on and verified it worked, but I didn't give it any real good gameplay. And so the other day I did Michael B. We did some live, and I did notice definitely some lag. It's not horrible because the game is you're moving around and pressing buttons, but here I am kind of doing a poor man's lag test, and when you're not online, it's better. It's way better. You can feel you're punching and you're kicking around and it's reacting very quickly. So if you're not familiar with the home arcade products, they do run a pretty decent processor inside the chipsets, quad core. It used to be a 10, 15-year-old processor in there. And so a lot of the negative things about Arcade1UP in 2018 was due to that processor and everything they were doing to handle the upscaling they were doing some of it in hardware and it was really, really poor. But these newer units that came out in the last year, they're not perfect by any means, but they're a lot better. One of my regrets is right behind there. If you take a look, there's a golden T right there, and it just so happens to be to be perfectly in the worst angle possible to kind of demonstrate. I didn't do that on purpose, but that is a pickup that I got. Let's see, I wrote this all down. Let me see, when did I get the Golden Tee? So I paid $6.99 for Golden Tee, March 24th, 2022. Now, so this is not related to Black Friday, but it is a regret from the year 2022. And mainly, I got the Golden Tee, paid full price for it, no tax, so I guess I saved a little bit. I didn't have to pay for the tax. But I would say, in my opinion, the Simpsons is more enjoyable than the Golden Tee. What I do like about the Golden Tee is it's very big. It's an XL cabinet, and I just hope that their next XL version or their Pro version, they did come out with a Killer Instinct Pro that has a better monitor. The biggest problem is this is a TN monitor. We're talking about the Golden Tee behind there. And as you can see, difference between the Golden Tee monitor and the Simpsons monitor is like night and day. Although the Simpsons monitor is only 17-inch, the way the black border is around it, it's pretty nice. And when I was playing this, it's kind of funny the way the buttons are working on the Simpsons. Now talking about the Simpsons, I kind of had some fun, just like the way I was slapping those buttons. Anyway, so Simpsons is pretty fun. Definitely an awesome deal for $199, which is what I paid for it. It's got 2 games on it. Honestly, I've never played the bowling game yet. Like, I just haven't played the Simpsons bowling game. I probably will later, but I've only played it a handful of times because, you know, I've been super busy. I'm sure you guys have been super busy with your family as well. I think I got that music up super loud. Sorry about that. But $199 for Simpsons. The one I got did not come with a stool, did not come with a tin sign, and I'm happy with that. But it's available nationwide, $299 with that stool. And so you can go to consolekits.com, you can check it out, or just Google, you know, Arcade1UP Simpsons, and you'll see if you can find those deals out there. So that was one of them that I picked up that I really enjoyed. Does anyone in the live chat, did they have Simpsons, and what do they think about it? Thanks for the super chat, How to Bachelor. Like, comment, and subscribe. Andrew says he's picking up the Yoga Flame. Glad to hear How to Bachelor. Oh, that's right. How to Bachelor is probably talking about, yeah, he closed on getting a new house up here in central New York. Very excited for you, man. Let's see. Yeah, King is saying, evening all. I spent so much money lately. JJ says he didn't get any arcades, but I did pick up a mid-class gaming laptop for my son to finish out the senior year in high school to use at college next year. Fantastic. And got some Bose QC 45s. Very good. So I think I got the QC 30s way back in the day. JJ says he got the QC 45s for his daughter during Black Friday. Awesome. It's always good to have a really good... It makes such a big difference when you got some nice headphones. I love listening to music. Let's see, Console Fanboy says, I picked up the Simpsons SCAD, did a drop test video on it. Thanks, Best Buy. This is so crazy. He keeps on returning the cabs. I don't know if he should be doing that. Let's see. Stevie says, just got Blitz for $5.99 here in Canada. So we'll talk about that as well. $5.99 in Canada, that's not bad. It's definitely a lot more expensive. So let's talk about another cabinet that I picked up. This one I'm pretty excited about. I got Ridge Racer after what has been out for like 9 months to a year. And so the Ridge Racer cabinet I was able to get for $2.99. Yeah, so let's see. November 18th at Best Buy, I got Ridge Racer for $2.99. Now, after I made that purchase, after that, someone had said that they saw it on Kohl's for $90 off, and $90 Kohl's cash, but I wasn't able to find it, and I already bought it from Best Buy anyway. So initial impressions of the Ridge Racer cabinet, I've played it 2 or 3 times at this point, and then I got my daughter to play it as well. I'm gonna move over here so you can see my arms or whatever. So I got my daughter to play Ace Driver. She really enjoyed it. It has the rumble on it. So when I first started putting it together, my particular unit didn't have any damage on it. There's like a little bit at the very top, like peeling. Do you know what I mean? But it's a fraction. It's just a tiny, tiny amount. Like not like a quarter size or anything like that. We're talking like, I don't know, the size of a BB or something like that. Pretty small. And I was able to kind of like put it right back. It's not a big deal. And it's kind of in the corner. You don't even notice it. So, but you'll get that from time to time. You'll get just a unit that has some scratches on it or something like that. But so far, everything I purchased this year was, with the exception of this tiny peel. It wasn't like a $5 bill size or anything like that. We're talking like a tiny amount. It's in great shape. I didn't have any damaged units, and I feel for those people. Every now and then you're going to get a unit that has an issue in shipping, but I guarantee it's not every single unit has problems with shipping, right? Rare would you find someone that bought like 5 cabinets and all 5 of them came damaged or anything like that, So far, the only issue I've had with any of the Arcade1UP cabinets when it comes to like quality of like the actual unit is 2 years after I got the original Street Fighter, I got a yellow line or green line through the monitor. None of the other ones have had any issues like that. So Ridge Racer, the steering wheel was, when I started assembling it, the steering wheel was like way better than I thought it was going to be. It felt really strong. I thought it was going to feel a lot more loose. One thing, but once I started playing it, I did notice that if you're kind of at 12 and 2, you're kind of at the top, you have the ability to kind of push the steering wheel forward, like on its axis a little bit, like that Z axis. Is that right? And so I kind of moved my hands more closer to the yoke part, right? And it feels more secure. So I guess if there's any recommendations, if let's say Arcade1UP was going to come out with a Daytona, the steering wheel is pretty good, but I think the quality of the steering wheel could be just a little bit better, like just a slightly better support on the steering wheel. And Michael B, he told me, he said, hey, when you try this out, go try Ace Driver and you'll notice the vibration. And it's subtle, but it's just enough to be enjoyable. And I was surprised. It was actually pretty nice. Of course, the quality could be a little bit better, but I think the quality would just be like different, if you will. Like as you're turning, it kind of has this rumble. It doesn't shake, just feels like there's some vibration inside there. And it's like as I go to the corner, like it goes higher. It's definitely not extremely weak or anything like that, but it's not like it's shaking your steering wheel. And I haven't played all the games on Ridge Racer yet. And so I heard like, I guess I played Ridge Racer 1, and the Ridge Racer 1 doesn't have any force feedback, but like Ace Driver and I think one other game has it. So I got my daughter, she played Ace Driver. I thought maybe this was my test because she's done this before. I showed her a game. She's 14 years old. And if she plays for like 10 seconds, you're like, hey, check out this new arcade or this video game. And then if she's immediately like, yeah, this is dumb, 10 seconds later, she walks off, then, she's not enjoying it. But what I was surprised, she did finish the entire lap, went through the 3 laps without yawning, without being bored, and she was smiling and laughing, and I was like, what did you think? And she's like, oh, it's pretty cool, it's pretty good. And then I said, hey, I paid $299 for it instead of paying the full $700. She's like, okay, cool. And then she went upstairs and played Switch. And so the Ridge Racer, I'm pretty happy about, especially for that $299 price. Anyone in the chat, did you actually pick up Ridge Racer for whatever price, and did you enjoy it? So far, I'm happy about my purchases this year with Ridge Racer and the Simpsons, being able to get them at that discount. I think that made a huge difference. I know there's some people probably even in the chat that paid $700 for that, and I don't want to be mean or anything like that. Like, if you want to pre-order, that's your thing. You got to play the cabinet for an entire 9 months to a year or whatever that I didn't get to play it. So I'm just late to the game when it came on it because I waited. So is it worth the wait? I'd love to hear you guys in the chat. Is it worth to wait to see if you can get, your, everyone has an opportunity to pick up these cabinets at full price. Typically, right? If you have the money, you could do it. But if you wait, you could save some money. Is it worth waiting to save the money? For me, what I've thought is on certain titles, there's definitely the option to wait. But how long do you wait? So for Ridge Racer, I thought maybe it would get to $199. And this is what I said on a previous stream. The problem with a $199 price, I consider that a fire sale. And the problem is you don't know how many they made. So I was having a discussion with a few people in the comments about this. A nice discussion, no arguments or anything like that. And they had mentioned, it was a really good, thoughtful comment. And it was, they're worried that, he was like, look, I like to pay the developers. I want to make sure that everyone's getting a fair share of the license, all of that. He's a gamer that wants to contribute to the community. So getting like a really low price, it seemed like he was okay with that, but not at the expense of like ripping off a company, if that makes sense. I'm using different words than him, kind of paraphrasing, but that's kind of the idea. And this is what I thought. And in my previous podcast, I talked about this shovel, right? Like this farmer analogy where there's two farmers. One's going to buy a shovel for $50 and one's going to buy a shovel for $8, right? And basically the store gives a coupon, but only the rich guy buys it for full price, and then the guy that can't afford the $50 uses the coupon. At least this is kind of like this theory of why coupons exist that a buddy of mine told me. Anyway, in my thoughts, I think Arcade1UP spends millions of dollars. Like they don't think about, oh, the cabinet's $500 and then it costs $300 to make. So therefore we may, we have a $200 profit or whatever their numbers are, right? Maybe it only costs them $150 to manufacture, and then they sell them wholesale for $200, right? And then the retailer buys 10,000 of them, but the retailer's going to sell them for $500, right? And so the retailer takes a cut, and Arcade1UP gets a cut, and the manufacturer makes some money, something like that, right? My numbers are probably off, but they're probably close to that. When you see an Arcade1UP cabinet for $299 or $199, in my opinion, that doesn't mean they're losing money. Because if you're looking at the price that way, you're not thinking of it as a project. So I think in reality, the project is more like Arcade1UP plans to buy 10,000 cabinets. That means it's going to cost them millions of dollars, and then they're going to sell it to retailers and then make millions of more dollars, right? And then their hope, the retailer's hope, is it would be great if they could sell all 10,000 of them for full price, right? But they can't. And so at some point, they just don't move anymore. And it's all a gamble for them to, how many do they order? Do they order 20,000? Well, if they order 20,000, let's just say, they order 20,000 units, but the market only demands 10,000 units, you're going to have 10,000 extra units that no one's going to buy. And that's the gamble. Can you get the number right? And if the retailers and the manufacturers can get that number right, then they get to sell at top dollar. So what we've been told before years ago, and Arcade1UP even said this on one of their forums, I think it was the CEO, Scott Baccarat, in 2019, talked about the high discounts at Walmart. And he said something like, we can't control what our retailers do, but he was saying, we can't control what the retailers do to the last 5% of the cabinets they decide to liquidate. It's something like that. I don't know exactly the percentage, if it's 5% or 10% or 20% or 50%, I don't know. But the idea is at some point they've made their money back. At some point they're already made a profit. And if the cabinets are sitting there, they're actually losing money because they're taking up a warehouse space, right? They're sitting in a warehouse just taking up space. And so at some point, if they're selling zero, if they liquidate them, they can get them out of their warehouse and then bring in the new title. That's going to move a whole bunch. Anyway, the point I'm making is I don't feel like I'm screwing the company over. I don't think anyone else here is either, by taking advantage of the Walmart clearances. Because as many have said, even Arcade1UP have said, they call us, some people call us the 1%ers, the people that are obsessed about this community and own many units and watch live streams. And so that's to imply that 99% of their customers pay full price. And we're just this small, 99% of their customers only buy one or two cabinets, and they're just the average people that will never know. They're the farmers that pay full price. And then we that are really into this, that own many of them, if you wait, you can get the coupon, and then you can get it cheaper. Anyway, let's see. Gold-bladed shovels, just don't melt them down. Console fanboy, ripping off a company is fine if the company rips off the customers. There we go. But it's a really nice shovel with late hits. All right, so that's a good good point. So let's talk about the next thing. So do I have anything on this? So we have, let's talk about some other deals that are available if you're still interested in deals. And then we'll talk about another cabinet that I did order. So a deal that's available right now. This, actually, let me look at it this way. Let me just jump straight to the other thing that I bought. So on 40boxes.com, they have an NFL Blitz. And those of you that are on the fence about NFL Blitz, there's been a lot of controversy in the last couple weeks about NFL Blitz. Let me try to be, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to this industry, if you're new to home arcade, let me just try to break it down for you, right? So you got the NFL Blitz that came out a couple weeks ago. And when did it come out? September? Maybe it was before August, September. It was, I don't know. We went to Chicago, right? 19K Fox, and we had it then. Anyway, it's been out, let's just say months. And we all assumed and we believed and they advertised that that the online gameplay would be available day one. That's what we assumed, right? It says it on the box, whatever. And that didn't happen. They were very transparent about, Arcade1 was very transparent that Blitz would not have late hits, that they would remove that feature from the game because of the NFL and they wanted to protect the NFL and all of that. So they have their reasons. And so then they also were selling it for, was it $5.99? Is that right? $5.99 for Blitz. And so if you want to vote with your wallet that you're mad about that situation, don't buy Blitz. But I did buy Blitz. They did come out with a firmware update that allows you to play online on the first game. And I fell for the FOMO. Let me be very clear. Michael B. harassed me, a content creator on YouTube who I'm also friends with, met in person, hung out in Chicago. We talk every couple days we talk. And he was like, you have to get Blitz. And he was negotiating with me like, you can afford it and I want to play with you online and all of us are going to have a lot of fun. And so he's kind of in a group chat. He was basically like embarrassing me by not, he's calling me out. It's like, everyone else in the chat has Blitz but you, he shamed me, right? So, but the reason why I pulled the trigger is because 40boxes.com, who is said to be an authorized retailer for Arcade1UP products, had it available for $3.99. So you can save this 33% off and free shipping. Now, I think it's no coincidence that they got Blitz online working-ish, as some people say. I don't have this cabinet yet, so I don't know what it's like. I have played the cabinet offline in Chicago, and I can say the 49-way joysticks was very surprisingly better than I thought. And it was a lot of fun to play with 4 people in person. There's a live stream on B Kong's website of 4 of us playing together, and it was a lot of fun. So I started imagining playing online. People were saying it's a good experience, it's a fun experience. And Zohar reached out to me, and I talked to him. I was like, should I get it? And he's like, dude, we will play online. If you get it, I will play with you. I was like, fine, I'll get it. I'm friends with him, friends with 19K Fox who has it, Carl who has it. Anyway, so I bought it. Now, here's the thing. I didn't want to buy it from 40 Boxes. I've never heard of this retailer, but I've seen other people talk about the retailer. They said they purchased things from them. On Facebook, there were several people that are like, no, they're legit. I bought the gaming table from the Infinity game table from 40 Boxes. So they said it was legit. I was like, okay. And then someone else said that Arcade1UP said it's official retailer, so I believe that. I'm like, okay. But I wanted to get it from Best Buy because Best Buy sells it, but Best Buy doesn't have it at $3.99. But remember, Best Buy is pretty cool. They'll do price match with other retailers. So my plan, and what I did, was I went into the live chat option on bestbuy.com a couple days ago, and I said, hey, so it must have been November 23rd when I did this, because that's when I bought from 40 Boxes. I said, hey, Best Buy, I want to get 3 I want to get it for $389. I was like, there's this website, 40 boxes. Here's the link. It's for $399. They have a coupon code for $10 off, $389. I'd like to buy it from you instead. Because I figure if I have any problems with my Blitz, I could just take it to my local Best Buy, right? If you're buying from an online retailer that doesn't have a physical presence in your area and there's an issue, maybe there's going to be some difficulty there. But they said, this is what Best Buy said, we don't do price match right now because of the Black Friday season. They have it turned off, they told me. Not till November 28th is what they said. So right now, this live stream is happening on November 27th. If you're watching this on the replay and it's November 28th, and you're thinking about getting Blitz, but you're not sure about buying it from this online retailer, 40 boxes, here's something to check. I don't know what the future is going to be, but this is what you go do right now and check if it's the future right now. If you're watching this on the replay, go to see if 40boxes.com still has it for $399. If they do, Best Buy will probably price match it because they'll price match any other retailer that's an authorized retailer from the manufacturer as long as it's past that Black Friday. So they told me 11/28. Maybe they meant 11/29. Maybe they meant after 11/28. I don't know. But anyway, I went ahead and pulled the trigger, as they say. Is that right? Endless One Up is saying Home Depot will price match. I didn't know about that. There's the local Home Depots. Anyway, I ended up purchasing it from 40 boxes for the reasons I already mentioned. I'll let you know if there's any issues with, probably have follow-up videos, talk about it on the podcast, and you buy it if you feel like you need to buy it. Don't fall for any FOMO from any content creator on either side. You have to make your own choices, of course. And I say that because I mean, just the other day, I went down a path of, there's like a number of things that I want to buy. Let's see, there's this new microphone I want to get. There's this Canon E10 I want to get, or maybe I should get the Sony EV-E10 camera. And the moment I go onto YouTube and I start searching for content creators that are doing reviews on these products, the more I learn about it, the more I want to get it. And so if you're new to this space and you're watching this content and watching other content, I know what it's like when you see someone talking about positivity about a product. Maybe you'll regret it later. So let me talk about what I regret. And those that are in the chat, Firestarter X says, what camera you use right now? So right now I use the Canon M200. All right, so this camera is an M200. This camera is a M200, has HDMI out, has clean HDMI out. I have this plugged into what's called a Blackmagic ATEM. But basically, you can get like any type of HDMI input if you're into. You can also email me, consulkits@gmail.com, if anyone wants any help on like setting up video for YouTube. I'll give you my suggestions, and I'll tell you what's going on. I also got the Canon M50 Mark II, which is also pretty good. That's the one I use upstairs. So the downsides, just for 2 seconds, I'll talk about this Canon. The Canon camera that I have right now has no line in, but it's one of the cheapest cameras on the market that you can get a body and then get a good lens that does aperture of f-stop 2.0. So like you can get a nice like blurry screen, blurry background for not paying over $1,000. And so you can get those body onlys, and they're pretty nice. Canon's got some good stuff coming out, and it's a good. It's not full frame, but it's one step less than a full frame, so it's not too bad. Anyway, let's talk about cameras now. Oh wait, Biggity's like, does 4K at 30 frames per second or 1080 at 60 frames per second? Yeah, I'm not into 4K. I mean, 4K live streams is like no one's doing that, right? So my entire gear setup is 1080, 60. I actually don't even do 60 frames per second. This live stream is 24 frames per second. So if I wave my hand, it's all blurry, right? So 24 frames per second is what it's also, I tell everyone you should live stream in 24 frames per second because it's like film. Everything's blurry. It's cool. Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. You're here for games, right? You hit one in the chat if you want me to make a live stream video that's all talking about cameras. I'll do it if you want, but it's definitely a passion of mine. It's my other hobby. Anyway, Hold on a second. Now I can't switch. Sitting here talking about everything, and my my setup went out. So I was pressing buttons. There we go. Okay. So NFL Blitz is coming. Now that I got some ones, of course. Just a couple, though. Couple people are like, oh, a few more people. All right, maybe I'll do something. Okay, anyway, so 40 boxes. Blitz is coming. I almost want to say I'll see you online, but that's too much FOMO. I'm not going to say that, even though I just said it. But so NFL Blitz, the original, we don't have online for these two. And do it in 60 frames per second? No, that's dumb. Oh, that's a good question. The other there's a big debate going on right now. He knows what he's talking about. It's all about the 23.957. So with Blitz, right? There's a big debate of whether or not the online play is in 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. We'll see. Let's see. JJ says, have you tried the hack that Kongs R Us did a video to expand the A1UP pinball cabs to include all 3 tables games on one unit? I have not done that. I do plan on doing that. Like, so what is it? You go to mysteryencoder.com and you go to archive.org. You grab the all the APKs for the different pinball machines, and then you have a Windows machine and you plug in USB, and then you can sideload all 30 games on the pinball machine. I just haven't done it yet, but I plan on doing it soon. It's literally on my list of things to do. See, OTG knows what he's talking about. Yep, 24 all day long. That's how you do it, right? He's got a good camera setup, right? OTG, what camera you got? I bet it's a Canon R something. Anyway. If he comes back and is like, no, it's a Sony EVE10, I'll be like, I hate you. I hate you, OTG. I hate him anyway. Anyway, so let's talk about, what were we talking about next? My regrets. Let's get into the regrets. One more thing before we get into the regrets is it's an okay deal. Some people were talking about this Killer Instinct 1 for $299. Now, some people were saying the shipping was killing them. See, it's an M6. An M6 Mark II. All right. Let's see. For $299, some people were saying if you add to cart, there was shipping, but I tried it just before the stream, and the Killer Instinct for $299, Arcade1UP.com. I live in Iowa. The shipping to here said it was free, and there was no tax when I filled it out. There you go. Mike knows what he's talking about. That's what I use upstairs. He's got this Sony EVE10, 24 frames per second with the Sigma f-stop 1.4. That is a killer setup. No joke. Everyone in the chat, like, if you got the money to spend on a nice camera, the Sony EVE10 with the Sigma. So I got the Sigma f1.4, and I have that upstairs in my office, but that's plugged into a Canon M50. But the Sony, that's the Sony EVE10. Dude, it's expensive, but it's good. I've been watching so many reviews on it. Anyway, okay, sorry, you got me excited because, like, it's a good camera, dude. It's really good. There you go, Blackmagic cinema camera in my studio all day. There you go. So I got the Blackmagic. What is it? The Blackmagic ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. That's what I'm doing right now. Everything you're seeing right now with the switching is the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. And then I'm using this iPad app called Mix Effect Pro, and I'm using an Elgato that allows it to talk to the iPad that tells the ATEM Mini to animate over. Anyway, there's my setup. I don't need to make a video now. Okay, my regrets. I'm talking about regrets. Sorry, it's taking forever. My regrets is the Big Blue. Hit a big fat loser. Put a big thumbs down if you think I'm an idiot. Thumbs down in the chat. Give me some zeros if you think I should not regret the Big Blue. But I regret the Big Blue. Hate on me now, chat. I ask you to hate on me. Here we go. So what's my list? So on last year, Big Blue. Oh, I forgot to write down the date. So November Black Friday of last year, I paid $641 for the Big Blue. The reason why I did it is because it was Black Friday era, and it was $180 in Kohl's Cash. So the Kohl's Cash, now, I mean, it was the $41 was tax and all that stuff, you know. But that 180, you know, it came to, let's see, what is it? $461 is what I paid for the Big Blue. And in my head, I thought it was a really big deal, or it was a really good deal, because this was, you know, last year there was the big price hike, and then all of a sudden they had the Kohl's Cash of 180, and it was like, man, that's a deal, you know. But when I got it, I've never done a review on this video. I've talked about it on various podcasts, but never like reviewed it. Definitely this year, I just didn't care about doing reviews. I just didn't have any time. I was focusing on work and family, and basically just have a little bit of time to do these live streams. So never got a review out on this one. But if I did, I would have been like, there's lag in the menu, and it irritates me. I know that's picky. I'm not talking about lag in the game. I'm just talking about lag in the menu. I didn't really want to make the video because I figured everyone would be like, seriously, Justin, you don't like that when you navigate through the menus on the Big Blue, it's a little laggy. I'm like, yeah, it irritates me. I don't know why. The animations suck on the Big Blue in the menu. Once you get in the game, it's fine. Anyway, but then I got the Yoga Flame. Now, the Yoga Flame, maybe I'm biased because I didn't pay anything for the Yoga Flame. That was sent to me by review by David McIntosh of Arcade1UP. That came through the marketing department. Nothing to do with John D. But the Yoga Flame is 10 times better. And I would have paid... If I would have known about the Yoga Flame and how great it was, I would have paid the $641 for the Yoga Flame. Or maybe $500. It's really good. In my opinion, the Yoga Flame is top. So, I'll be selling the Big Blue. There's an auction next week in Des Moines. If you live in the Des Moines area, Midwest area, check out Amusement Arcades. They have a website, and I think the website hasn't been updated forever, but on their Facebook group, Amusement Arcades, you can find this guy, and he has posted that at Valley West Mall on December 3rd in the morning, they're doing an arcade auction. I'll be there. I'll have my Golden Tee 3D XL there. I'm going to try to sell it to arcade owners. Last time I went there, I sold a couple like a Space Invaders for $200, a Pac-Man for a couple $100. I'm going to bring the Big Blue. I'm going to bring the Golden Tee XL. I'm going to bring my Neo Geo MVS, the full-size arcade. And I don't know. There's a couple. I haven't decided all the other full-size arcades. I'm keeping the Road Blaster for sure. Keeping the Zaxxon for sure. Keeping Play Choice 10 for sure. Maybe I'll get rid of the Phoenix that I have. Maybe. Nah. The other ones I want to keep. I have a couple projects that I want to keep. The Sega Monaco I'm going to take to the arcade. Anyway, so I'm going to see what I can get out of it. So that's my regret, is the Big Blue from last year and the Golden Tee. This Golden Tee I paid $6.99 for full price on March 24th, 2022. Brian B says, will they fit in your car? No, and I don't own a truck, but I already have a U-Haul reserved. $100 for a U-Haul, 24 hours. I'm picking it up on Friday. Gonna drop off all the arcades. It's like a 22-footer. Like I got a 22-footer, just because those are easier with the ramp and everything like that, and they're high. That big, the Big Red that I have, I've got a 15-foot U-Haul before, and that thing would touch the top of the ceiling. When you got that garage door looking thing, the door on the U-Haul. So I went with the 22-foot. It was the same price anyway. So it's like $100. Can bring that to so next Saturday. So maybe next Sunday's podcast will be a review of what I picked up at the auction, what I sold. I'll try to take some footage, kind of make it a podcast, talk through it. There's a couple people that reached out to me on Facebook that said that they probably might be going. So if you're in the area, if you want to come hang out, I'll probably be just drooling over all the arcades at the auction. Hopefully it's a good turnout. All right, so Golden Tee, yeah, I don't know how much money I can get for the Golden Tee selling it to arcade owners. Maybe they'll be interested in it because it's big. This is the XL format, and it's a bigger cabinet. And heck, you could even view it in your space right here on your website. Right on the website, you can see the Golden Tee, and let's see how accurate it is. Did they get the accuracy of the TN monitor? Yeah, it looks pretty crappy. What do you guys think? The Golden Tee. Here we go. Let's look at the coin door. The coin door is nice. Check out that coin door. It's pretty good. Let's see what she's got inside here. You can see the back of the coin door here. Let's see. There's the back of the coin door. I don't know what I'm doing. This is dumb, isn't it? Anyway, Golden Tee, $6.99. Tell me what you guys think about the Big Blue, the Golden Tee. Let's see. JJ says $6.99 for Golden Tee. Ouch. I got the first gen for like $200 on sale at Walmart, or I wouldn't have bought it. But golf could be fun at times. Yeah, sorry, Bill. It's getting dizzy. Let's see. Final Fight online. Let's see. You can do that on the... I haven't done that yet. Yeah, who else has the Yoga Flame with Final Fight on it? That'd be fun to do. I'd do a playthrough on that. We'll have to arrange something. I'll do a comment in the community section for those that have that cab that want to do like a Final Fight playthrough. I mean, there's only 3 people that can do it, right? Does it do online? I mean, I've played Final Fight on, but I haven't played it online. I played Retro Ralph on Final Fight online, but not on Arcade1UP. It was on the Switch. It was kind of fun. We did a playthrough. We did a whole playthrough. It was pretty fun. Let's see. Someone told me to check my email. Let me see what's going on. Hold on. Oh, cool. This is, I think, JJ, you mentioned earlier to check my email. I'll share with everyone what I assume this is cool. He's talking about he's got a little racing setup, and then he's got a little TV. He's watching the stream, watching the game. He's ready to be able to play some racing games. He's got a lot of stuff set up there. It's kind of cool. Captain Commando is very much like Final Fight. Let's see. Sell the Golden Tee, wasteful bad screen, and overpriced. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I have like a 19-inch replacement screen, so I'm debating whether or not to spend the time this week upgrading that monitor. But so I got like 6 Dell monitors that I've collected over time. Some of them are 17, some are 19, and they're pretty decent. Some are 4x3, some are 5x4. But it's like I almost don't want to waste it on the Golden Tee, right? Because then, like, I don't even know if someone's gonna buy it, they may not even care, right? Because I've gone to some auctions where there's LCD screens inside full-size arcades, and the LCD screens on some of them are horrible, really bad. Or then I go to real arcades, you know, where you pay money. That's what I'm talking about. And they have, what is it? Those Pac-Man machines that are like $5,000, you know? And they have an LCD in it, and it's horrible. Horrible backlight on it. It's super flat. So it's like in the scene of full-size arcades, like in arcade shops, at auctions, when there's an LCD, it's not always a great LCD. And so, I don't know, to sell to those folks that are like, oh, it's got an LCD in it, they love their CRT, but everyone that I've seen in the Midwest that puts LCDs in their arcades, they put a really crappy monitor in it, a really crappy LCD. I did see RetroRGB if you go to the website, he talks about a new monitor that's coming out. There's a couple Kickstarters and a couple new 19-inch 4x3 or 5x4 monitors that are hitting the market that I think could be really exciting to this community. There's a couple things I'll mention. Let's see. That's on his website. Let me. I'm scrolling through it right now and grabbing all the articles that I think you guys would be really interested in. Hit one in the chat if you go to RetroRGB.com. It's a fantastic website. This is something I partnered with. Let me clarify. I didn't partner. I help Bob with his website. So a number of years ago, we turned it into a blog format, and I did all the coding on that. And then I maintain it if there's any issues with the servers and whatnot. But it's his content, all of that. I'm not taking any credit for any of the content that's on there. Okay, so let me share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's this one that's coming out. So this is a Checkmate 19-inch display, case-only Kickstarter. This is kind of a fun little kit. And if you look at what they have available, check out this really cool. You take this 19-inch IPS display, and it looks like, did it get funded? Or their goal is $252,000. Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot. So you can see, check out this, how they have it all set up. It's in the, it's got an LCD in it, but they got these little slots where you can go in there and put in, you got RGB, you got some VGA, is that right? And you got component, and you got HDMI. You got all these different options to kind of create like this really awesome retro looking computer monitor. But what I would want to do with something like that is just plug like a Mister into it, or a Raspberry Pi, or I don't know, an Xbox original, some old school. Anyway, so check out that article, RetroRGB.com. You can look at Checkmate. There's another one that I thought was really cool that I thought this community would like. It's the GunCon 3 on the Mister. If you're not familiar with the Mister, it is an FPGA product that you can purchase, and there's ton amount of support. This competes with like a Raspberry Pi when it comes to quality. It has HDMI out, but it recreates the video games in schematics. So people write code, and the code is actually a schematic to the actual arcade. And when you play it on the FPGA, it recreates the actual chips and circuits that are in the original arcade. And so lag is like basically obsolete. Like there's no lag and majority of it. Anyway, so the quality of what they're able to do on it is pretty high. And Lou's what's his name? It's Lou. He does these articles on the Mister and talks about it. But they came out with this GunCon 3, which is a Namco gun that you can take these LEDs and create your own little light gun that's compatible with the Mister. So you have these LEDs that the Namco gun will recognize. So you're using a real Namco arcade light gun, and he's just doing like a DIY demonstration, and the Mister has support for that light gun with these emitters through USB. So it's a pretty cool article about it. If you haven't checked out the Mister, I highly recommend it. When it becomes available, when the product becomes available, it's a couple $100. You can sideload tons of games on it, and the recreation of the original cores of the original arcades is fantastic. The only downside about the Mister, which I don't even know if it's worth complaining about, but like the UI is pretty basic, right? So you're basically just picking the game through a screen of text. And then there's a couple projects out there that allow you to pick the games like on an iPhone. And there's a couple projects that are pretty exciting with the Mister that are all about, there's this project called Mistercade, and it's taking a Mister, which is kind of like a Raspberry Pi if you're new to Mister, except for like higher quality components, I guess you would say. It's using something to recreate the schematics of the original arcade, right? And so it outputs using a JAMA connection, the Mistercade does. So you can actually plug a Mister into a real arcade that has a real CRT on it, and then play the arcade ROMs that are recreated from schematics. And so that's a pretty cool project. That's on that's out there for purchase. And the problem with Mister is it's actually it's pretty popular. So the availability of the Mister and the Mister projects are pretty low. So who I've bought from before is directly to the company that makes the Mister, but I've also bought from Mr. Add-ons. And so Mr. Add-ons seems to be like one of the most popular retailers out there that sells the Mr. kits. And so the Mr. kits are pretty sweet. So they're pretty expensive, right? If you want the full setup, but you don't have to pay $425 for a Mr. setup. This is just like, it includes like a ton of stuff ready to go. But the actual Mr. itself is like the actual board. What is it, like $150, I want to say? The DE10 Nano is what it's called. So you look at DE10 Nano. If you go look up, it's just a piece of hardware that you can... So this is the company that makes the DE10 Nano. They made this for hardware developers. So hardware developers, right, are the ones that buy this DE10 Nano because they're trying to build like a chip. They're trying to design circuits. But what this community has done for the last like 5 years or so is take the DE10 Nano and then write schematics that recreates the arcade. So C Marvel says FPGA is hardware cycle accurate emulation, different than software base. Both have cons and pros. Very good. Very well said. Very well said. So when this thing becomes available directly, which may or may not be available right now. Yeah. So $223 is what you would pay just for the DE10 Nano. And that's about all you need to get set up. But the capabilities of what it's able to do is pretty high end. Anyway, so I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole of the Mister. I guess I just got into the flow of it, so I wanted to talk about it. So there's an entire arcade section over here, and they have what's called a Mistercade, and that's one of the things that I've been looking at doing. And one of the reasons, I think maybe I didn't plan to talk about this, but I know that I'll tell you, like, life is changing for me. Recently, my wife and I have been talking about moving again, and it's probably a year or two away, but we're already talking about like doing a major downsize. Just take the equity that we have in our house and like move into a townhouse, but like have a very small mortgage, just cause like reducing your mortgage cost and how much you spend can lower anxiety and stuff like that. So the reason why I bring that up is because think about it. Like those of the in the community that have a big basement, right? That have a lot of space, and you own 10 or 20 Arcade1UPs, and you own full-size arcades, or you own the iArcade and the MVSX and all of that, right? What if you were in a situation where you decide, and this is something I've been thinking about, of downsizing your living just to be able to travel more? Like that's what we've been talking about. Like, what if we, instead of spending so much on a mortgage, like we had that extra money and we could go to Hawaii from time to time? It's just changing the dynamics of our funding, right? Our money. And getting closer to having a mortgage paid off by downsizing, things like that. Well, what if you do that and you're like, okay, instead of having this many bedrooms, you're going to have fewer bedrooms, and maybe instead of having this game room, you have one bedroom. And instead of being able to hold 20 cabs, and instead of having a 3-car garage, you go to a 2-car garage, right? And what if then it's all like, if I was in that situation, I would probably buy a Street Fighter arcade and put a Mistercade in it. Maybe. And then maybe do a vertical machine and do like a vertical emulation. This is where, for me, emulation starts to make a ton of sense. And so this is what I've realized. If this happens for me in the maybe like 3 years from now, it's possible I have 3 years to enjoy the space that I have and fill it up with arcades, and it might be temporary. Although a friend of mine, I was telling this to a friend yesterday, and he goes, dude, just get a townhouse that has a basement. They have a ton of them in Des Moines that are pretty cheap, and it's small enough for my wife and I and my daughter. And then Just, you know, unfinished basement, you know. Don't fall for it. That's her way of killing your hobby. This is my idea, though. This isn't her idea. She wants to stay. This is my idea. This is my... I'll tell you straight up. I'll tell you straight up. I mean, I didn't want to get into details about it, but what I'm talking about is buying a townhouse cash. That's what I'm talking about. The economics are crazy right now, and the house that I have went up in value, and the previous house that I lived in Colorado went up in value. And when I sold in Colorado, I cashed out, and then I put it all in this house. And so my point is, like, I have enough equity. I don't think I could do it, but I could get close to get a really cheap place and not pay a mortgage in a couple years if I play things right, if I save up money, right? If I don't know, stop eating out. Like, everything that I waste money on, if I don't waste money on it and I put it aside for like 3 years and the equity goes up in this house, maybe I could own a cheap house and not have a mortgage. It's my idea. And the downsize is, so here's the thing. If you don't buy a pinball, I still want to pull the trigger on the pinball because I'm thinking the pinball machine, right? I'd have it for 2 or 3 years. And then maybe if I move into a smaller place, I would still have a game room, but it would be like my office as well. So I work from home. So it'd be like if I could find like a cool space where it's like, I don't know, it's an office. Maybe it would be awesome if I could get a 20 by 20 space, but I don't think I can afford that. But like a 15 by 15 room in a basement, whatever, that's finished in a cool townhouse with a walkout basement or something like that. I don't know. Good lighting. I could have a couple pinball machines, maybe a couple XLs or Pro Arcade1UP, or maybe a Street Fighter multicade, and it's just a few. Yeah, so that's the Ramsey way. That's what we've been talking about, right? When I was talking to my buddy, he said the same thing. The financial plan, the Ramsey. Yeah, I got to look into that more. Is that essentially what I'm doing? Is the Ramsey method? That's what he was mentioning too. Says not everything is economics. What about lifestyle, animals? I've watched so many people say they wanted to downsize until they do. They went within a year. It's time to sell. So hard as you never know. It's true. I'm sitting here. Yeah. Town hall, thin walls. You can hear everything the neighbor does. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about that. Yeah, so let's see. FPU by Dave Ramsey changed our lives. I'll check it out. So Console Fanboy, when is the last indoor show? It already happened on Wednesday, and then 19K Fox are doing a show tonight. It's our final show. It's on 19K Fox. I got to run, guys, because I got this other thing that I got to do with Michael B. You see, Bill, he says, I just put 20K in a bathroom. Next, I have to redo the flooring and what will be my game room. There you go. Sounds like a good idea, although downsizing quality of life will be... It's good feedback I'm getting from you guys. Anyway, we're going to do this other thing with Michael B. And then go check out 19K Fox. I think he's in like 30 minutes. And then we'll do Andor tonight. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. You'll find out. You'll find out, man. We'll see you. Log into your other channel. Log into your definitely not Zohar channel. And then you'll find out. All right, see you guys. Take care.